What's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to create this entire website utilizing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So first off, let's go ahead and take a look at the design. So we have this nice section right here, and then we have this rotating carousel that actually pauses if I hover over with my mouse, and then I move it, and then it pretty much repeats, and then we can continue going. We have this option on why choose us, pretty much just a showcasing benefits, and then we have this pricing card plan section, and also I've included this toggle switch that can update and showcase a cheaper option when you select yearly, which is very common. You see on a lot of Saas or pretty much monthly subscription products, and you can see it just toggles back off. And then you can see we continue to the footer, and the best part about this is I've actually added fillers for each link or essentially nav menu to showcase that they're working. But even the sign up has a little fill-in option. This is one thing to note, all front end, so there's no back end in terms of data or logging any information. However, it is responsive. Mobile responsive, tablet responsive, and you can see here this has the mobile drop down, and you can see that it has all the menus, and basically you can see we continue, and it's pretty much like this, and it's on the actual design too. If you wanted to, you can have it on mobile where it stacks on top versus being on the side, and basically you can see this is the footer, and it works even on tablets. Let's just go ahead and choose the iPad Air, for example. And you can see how everything is pretty much still nice fitting. And also even the new phones, we have the Galaxy Fold with a 280 dimension, which is extremely tiny. And you can see everything still looks nice and clean. And basically, this is what we're going to be working on today. So without further ado, let's hop over to our code editor and let's get started. And before I continue, if you wanted to get full access to the source code for this video, consider being a channel member by simply clicking on this join button right here and becoming a channel member. And this will give you instant access to the source code and all the files shown in the tutorial. And if you found value in this video, it helps support the channel as well. And without further ado, let's continue with the video. So here I am in VS Code. So you can go ahead and select open a folder and create your own folder. However, I'm going to do this using the terminal, which I'll show you how to do in case you've never done this before. And then also I'll showcase some extensions you'll need. But first off, let's actually go ahead and let me open up my terminal, which on Mac you can do Command J. Also you can do Control backtick for Windows. And basically you can navigate into different files. So for my example, I have my coding projects on my desktop. So in order to navigate into a folder, if you have it named, you can say CD and then the name of it. So mine is the desktop, and then you can see it puts me into desktop. So you can type in LS to see all the folders you have on your computer, and then I have an option that's called code projects. So I'll say CD, and I put quotes to say code projects. Press enter, and now you can see I am inside my code projects folder. So again, if you don't have these folders created, feel free to just open a folder and just make a new one, or just do what I'm doing and CD into your particular area you like to keep all your files. And then here we can do make directory, so mkdir, and then this essentially creates a new project. So we can just say, I'll call this HTML, CSS, JS, bank, and I'll put YT just for YouTube, and I'll press enter. Now I can go CD, and then I can type in, or in essentially the quotes, or actually let's just say, now quote HTML-CSS-JS-bank-YT, and you can see here we are now into this folder. So again, this is not necessary if you just make your own folder, but I'm just showcasing you in case you like to use a terminal. And then for opening this up in VS Code, I'm saying code, and do dash. You could do code dot, this opens a new window, or dash R dot, and this essentially opens it into the same window. So now you can see I'm in this folder. So all that stuff is unnecessary if you just made it from the normal folder or you just drag one in. But regardless, you just go in here. Now you can type in index.html. Then we're going to need a styles.css, and then we'd also need an app.js. And this is pretty standard for making HTML, CSS, JavaScript websites. So if you've done this before, you followed one tutorial, then this looks pretty familiar to you. However, we need to go ahead and I'll show you some extensions because it's going to be difficult in case you are watching and you see something. So ignore the ones I already have for like different languages, but basically there's a couple. So this one, indent rainbow, this one is nice to have. It's not necessary, but just know your code is going to look very different from mine. So you can just type in like indent dash rainbow, and you should be able to see it pop up right there. And then you just simply install that one. And there's some other ones I liked. You need live server for sure, so definitely look up live server. Install this. There's another one, path IntelliSense. You can add this as well. And there's also Prettier, which is we definitely want to use if you want to just auto save without having a format. And for the most part, this is most of it for now. And there's other extensions. Feel free to look them up. But for now, I think this will be good enough. So cool thing is we can do Shift exclamation mark. And if I just press tab, you can actually see the differences. But basically, if I press tab here, it auto creates us a document templates. And now we have our body here. So if I were to say H1 and say, yo, what's good? And I go ahead and press save, or I can do Command S or Control S again, depending on your keyboard. And one thing to know is like every time you make an edit, if you see a little circle, that means that it hasn't saved yet, or there was an update. So in case you like mistype something, you can always go back and change it. And now since we have the live server, click here, open with live server, and this will show us the current website. So here you can see we have our current website. So beautiful. Now let's go ahead and start creating the section. So first thing is, let's go ahead and let me just delete this here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is make the nav bar. So I'll press enter, and let's start off and we'll just have a header. And you can see here my headers automatically autofill, so I can just press tab here and I'll press enter. And now I want to create a nav bar. So what's cool is if you do nav and you tab, you see it's like this. And if you want to add like a class, it essentially, you got to type it in manually, and then you go in here, you type in navbar. So we can add in the class navbar. The role here, I'm just going to make this the navigation. And then for the aria label, I'm just going to call this one the main navigation. Now, that's all fine and dandy. However, we do not want to waste our time manually coding every single class name like this, when we can just go and type in a div, and basically I can press the dots period and then type in my class name. So I'll say navbar __ container, and then I'll press tab, and look at this, it auto created. Now in terms of the naming for the classes, because I know a lot of people are gonna be like, why did you do this? Why did you name it? Again, in theory, there's really no perfect way to name your classes. You can literally name them whatever you want. And there's different techniques. There's with dashes, there's with double underscores, there's with numbers, etc. The main thing is, are you able to read it and understand it? And ideally, if someone else was looking at your code, could they glance over it and understand it? So again, don't go crazy over, ooh, should I name it this? Should I name it that? Pretty much, if your section's nav bars, adding the nav bar with like different names, for example, which I'll show you in a second, would make a lot more sense. So this essentially container is going to be containing all of our elements. So for example, we have the A tag. Now this one's going to have an ID, which uses a hashtag instead of a period, and then you would type in the regular name, so let's say navbar-logo, and then I'll press tab. Now it auto completes, but it asks us to put in the href, which is essentially, that is where you link. So this would be like slash, website.com or whatever, slash homepage, whatever, right? So for this one, we're just going to have a default slash, which basically leads you back to the homepage of your website. And for simplicity's sake, you could add in an image or SVG, whatever, PNG, JPEG, whatever image. But for now, I'm just going to type in some text, call this Bankster, and that's the name or essentially the logo, ideally, of the website, which you would just replace this with an actual image. But I think this is fine here. And now let's continue. And this time I want to start creating the actual elements, aka our home section, services, you name it. So in order to do this, we'll start off with a UL. And basically I'm gonna do a dot again, navbar, underscore, underscore, I'm gonna call this the menu. And I press tab. And now we go inside of our ULs. We're gonna need some LIs, so we'll go here, LI, tab in, or actually before dots, and I'm gonna call this one the navbar, the underscore, underscore item, and we'll tab in here. And essentially in our list, we have to include our links. So for example, I'm gonna have our A tag. This one's gonna be dot navbar underscore, underscore links. Press tab. This one, I'm just going to keep it as the slash because this is going to be the home. So I'll fill inside of the A tag, the home. And now outside of this first LI here, we have to add in the next LI. So what you could do is you can say LI dots, and then you can go with navbar underscore, underscore, and then call this one item, just like we did above. And then you go in here, you press the A tag, dot navbar underscore links for this class, and then call this one slash services for the link, and then we'll just make an HTML file that will link it over here in a second. But here we just fill this in with services. Now for now, let's actually go ahead and look at what this looks like. So you can see here we have the logo and the navs. Now this doesn't make sense for me to manually type everything when I can just go here, select one of the LIs, go here, under, press, copy and paste, do it again, paste here. So again, this is Command C or Control C to copy, and then Control V or Command V to paste, or you could just right click it, copy, paste. So these are the shortcuts on my computer. Again, if you have Windows, it's gonna be different, but basically now, instead of you having to manually type it, you can change this one, for example. And it looks like one thing I copied wrong, so make sure you fix, this should just say links with a S, which is, we'll fix that, easy fix. And then here, services, we're just gonna call this one pricing. And this one, we can call this one sign up. And now, one thing to note is for the links, we have to update this. So I'll say pricing. This one is going to be sign up. Now, one thing to note, this LI is going to be a little different because this is the sign up button. So instead of it being the matching the same classes as these LIs, I'm just going to call this one navbar underscore, underscore BTN for button for shorts. Then I'm going to hit space. I'm at another class called mobile, which will update it according, depending on like the responsiveness. So if it's on like mobile view or not. Make sure we do Command S or Control S to save. And then here is this UL. We can go under this one, so I'll add some spacing here. And basically, let me go in under here. And now this is going to be the sign up button that you saw on the right side. And basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to say div dot navbar underscore btn desktop. So this is the one you're going to see on desktop view. This is the one where you see in the mobile menu. So just keep that in mind. And I messed up by adding a space here. So I'll say desktop here. We tab. Now you can see, look at this. Auto completes. Press enter. A dot button. And for the href, let's do slash signup.html. And here we can just say but sign up again. And then under here, we're going to do the mobile menu toggle, which essentially are, you saw those lines. So I'm going to say button dot navbar underscore underscore toggle for the class. And then we can do hashtag mobile dash menu, tab in here, and inside of this we could add some additional labels just for let's see here, aria label equals toggle navigation. These are just better practices to do. And then aria dash expanded equals to false. And then I'll save this here. Now inside of this button, let me double space here, make sure you guys are inside of this. We can do an I for an I tag and say dots fas.fa dash bars. Press tab. And you're like, what is this I class tag? I've never seen this. Don't worry, I will show you. This essentially is going to be an icon, but you can't really see right now. But basically, this is what you should have looking like. And then when you select like a nav menu, you can see it updates in the link, but we don't have any CSS, or also we don't have this services HTML file, which is showing nothing. So basically, we can go back to the home page here. And for the most parts, this is our beautiful nav bar. So in case you don't see any of this stuff, make sure you check each of the lines if you didn't have any like closing tags or you missed a div. And also it's easy because with this highlight, you can see it connects the nav here with this line. And then also here, you can see these lines update. So it's easy to see where you're clicking. But for now, let's go ahead and start editing the nav bar in the CSS file. First off, before we go over here and start editing our styles, we need to go ahead and go to the head of the index.html file. And here for the title, we could just make this like, let's just call this Bankster Digital Bank. And we can update this, but this pretty much is just the title on the browser for our website. And in here, in order to connect these styles, you have to do a link and then tab in here, and it automatically does style sheet. And then you just call the href and just say styles.css. And now we can go ahead and test out if this actually works. So for example, we could just target the body and we can just say background, and pretty much say background color, let's just make this red, and let's just hit save really quick. Let me refresh, and you can see the background is indeed red, which means this is working fine. So the first thing I like to do is I always like to do a little reset at the top, and what this does is essentially makes things even, and also it has the fonts and pretty much all we need in our code. So you can do Shift 8 to make the star symbol and then the brackets, and then you press enter. And now I want to do box sizing, and we'll do border box. So these are auto-filling for me, so I'm just going to tab them out. Margin will be 0, and then padding will be 0. Now if this is your first time ever seeing this, essentially once we start building out the website, for example, like if I hit save now, you can already see that everything is pretty much tight in this corner, which essentially eliminated all the spacing, which is means margin and padding. And this just makes it easier when we actually do our dimensions and pretty much start creating the actual design, because everything will be nice and even. So next thing I want to do is have the font family, and for this one I'm going to be using this font's called KUMBH Sans, and then the fallback will be sans serif here. And then one thing I'm going to add is the overflow -x to be hidden. And the reason I'm doing this is because sometimes on mobile view, there'll be some white space showing over here, and pretty much this you can play around with this later, but basically this is why I've added this code here. But for now you can't really tell what's happening. But let's go ahead and hit save here. Now the first thing is we need to start editing the CSS. So here we have this Navbar container, and I'm not going to go back and forth with every single thing, but I'm just going to show for now. Basically I'm targeting this first, and what I want to do, I'll just say dot navbar __ container, open the brackets, and I'll say display and flex. So what this is going to do is essentially is bring everything to the side here, and then I'm going to say justify content space between. Now, if you've never done Flexbox or CSS Grid, definitely recommend watching like a quick overview, but essentially majority of the designs, at least for this website, is going to be using Flex, which references things going to the side in a sense of like it's like a row, versus Grid would be more like, think of stacking, right? So the space between, it's essentially literally what it means is putting space in between these, which here you can see the Navbar container. However, I wrapped things in divs as well, and that's why you can see even the button here, they're separating by itself like this. So again, if you've never done Flexbox, then it might be confusing at first, but don't worry, we're going to do a bunch of it. And here we can do align items. Now this will basically, we'll do center here, and this will make everything align, but you can't really tell right now because I haven't added the additional code here. But I want the height of the navbar to be 80 pixels. And then I'm going to have to add a background now so you can actually see. So I'll do hashtag 000. This is just black. And you can see we have this nice navbar here. And then for the Z index, I'm just put it at some crazy high number, like 1,000. And that essentially references in the Z plane. So there's like X, Y, and then Z is essentially like coming towards your face. Like I can't replicate it on a 2D plane, but ideally, basically, I want the navbar to be above everything, because when we were scrolling on the original demo, you can see it's above and it maintains its position there. And then let's see if we can add in a max width, and well, actually, let's do width first. Let's do width of 100%. And then I want to do margin. Put 0. And for example, the first number is top and bottom, and then the second is left and right. So essentially what I'm saying is margin top is 0, and then the left and right are auto. And then padding, I want it to be 0 on the top and bottom, and then 50 on the sides. So you can see here we got a little bit of some design here. And then I want the position to be fixed. This is what we got going on so far now. Now, let's go ahead and continue, and let's make the logo. So the logo right here, so for the ID to target, you have to do a hashtag instead of a dot, navbar dash logo. And you might be wondering, why is it not underscore logo or dash dash? Again, it literally is just preference and just how I named it. If you want to name it underscore, feel free. But again, there's no perfect way to do it. It's just, if you can understand it, then just do it like that, or whatever is easier. But now I want to make the color. I'm going to say hashtag 0CE, and then I'm going to say 48D. So this is like a green color. Again, you can make it whatever you want to. And if I were to save this, you can see it looks like this. And then what I want to do is do cursor pointer. This makes it to where when I hover it, it turns into a hand. So you can see, look at this like that. And the links by default are doing that too, you can see. But basically, I just want to have it there just in case. And then I want to have this again, because it assumes this is an image, but since I'm using actual link, it doesn't matter. And then I want to have, let's do text decoration none. You can see here that I get rid of the underline, and then I'll make the font size to rem. So essentially, rem is a shorthand. So basically, think of it as 1 is 16 pixels. So you can do pixels, but ideally rem, it just makes life easier, and there's benefits to it because of when you start to change screen sizes. But basically, you can see we have this right here. Now, let's go ahead and continue, and let's do the navbar menu now. So we'll say dot navbar underscore menu, and we're targeting this guy, the UL right here. And essentially, this is going to be all of these guys here. So since these are stacked on top of each other, what we have to do is say display flex. So again, we're doing a flex inside of a flex, and you can see it puts things on the side. Then again, we'll say justify content center. The list style will be none, and margin I want to have 0 on the top, and then auto left and right. And you can see, refresh it here, and that's what we got so far. Now we can go down here. We got the .navbar underscore item, and I'll have it as a height of 80 pixels. So here you can see this what it looks like right now, and the navbar item is essentially our list LIs. And right now you might be thinking, what is going on? Don't worry, we're gonna fix this. And now we have to target the navbar links, which is the A tag. So I'm gonna say dot navbar underscore links. Color will be hashtag FFF. That is white, so I'll save real quick and see, change it like this. We can do text decoration, none. And then I'm gonna do a height of 100%. You can see looking like this. And then padding of 0.1 rem. I'll save it here. And now the thing is here, you can see it looks like this. And then if I were to do display flex like this, and then align item center, you can see now it centers our items nice and neatly in the center. And then we can continue, and the next thing is to make the hover. So if we were to do navbar underscore links, if you want to make a design so like you hover over these menu items, you can do colon hover, and then you basically just say the color. So I'm going to say the same green that we had, so 0 CE48D, and then we can add a transition here, and I'll say all 0.3s ease. So the transition basically just makes it when you hover over is like nicer instead of being like an instant change. And now let me continue, and now let's work on the nav button. So now I want to target the navbar button, which is essentially, this is for the desktop, and then we also have the mobile option. So there's many ways to do this, but this is just the way I have it for now. And I'm just gonna say dot navbar underscore btn. We're gonna say display colon flex, then align items center. And right now it's really hard to see, but what I'm gonna do next is gonna say dot navbar underscore btn. I'm gonna say dot mobile to be display of none. So it should be, there's a mistype, it should be mobile. Save here, and then I'm gonna do dot navbar underscore btn dot desktop to display flex. And when we start adding the JavaScript, this will make a lot more sense. But essentially now I'm going to target the button. And let's just go ahead and do the background so you can actually see it first. And we're just going to go the same the same color here. So now you can kind of see there's a button here. And then I'm going to say padding 10 pixels by 20 pixels. I'm going to do border none, just removes the outline. Border radius, what this does is adds the curvature. So for example, 4 pixels, you can see we have this here. And then we can do a color of hashtag FFF to make the text white. And then we can do text decoration to be none. And currently you can see this is what it looks like right now. And then what I want to add is we can do display flex and then align items center. And then we can go here and do dot button dot or colon hover. And now we're going to make the color. So I'll just say background, change it to like a darker green. So I have 15B856. Again, you can change it to whatever color you want to. And then transition, this again will be the all 0.3s ease. So now you can see we have our button, the nice little hover, And basically this is our current look right now. And you might have noticed, look, if I were to go ahead and just cancel this out, for example, this shows up here. But if I close it, you can see it looks like this. Now it stops showing. And then now, let's go ahead and continue. I have the navbar toggle to target next, which would be this button. And essentially this is basically the hamburger, which you'll see. So I'll say, first of all, navbar underscore toggle display none. So you notice it's like a weird little circle dot. What was that? Well, that's essentially we're gonna have our little hamburger icon menu. And now if we go here and I inspect the page, we clearly can see, let me go to maybe the iPhone SE, for example. Clearly it is not showcasing anything. So how do you make this responsive? Well, you start off by doing media queries. So you say at media screen and then you put max width in parentheses colon, and then you name your dimension. So for example, you could do like 968 pixels, for example, and basically now you target something. So for example, you might be thinking, what dimensions do I put? What happens if it's smaller? So this one is 375, but for example, like the mini 768, and then maybe the Pro is 1024. So pretty much the rule is, at least for design, is you can do multiple media widths, which I'll show you in a second. So you could do 968, you could do 768, you could do 200, 300, etc. It all depends on your design. So for here, let's do the navbar toggle, and I wanted to say display block. So you can see right now you can't really tell anything because the rest of the elements are still showcasing. So in order to position this, let's position absolutes. And what this does, it allows us to put pixel dimensions on where we want it to be. So like, for example, I want to be 20 pixels to the right, and then I could do like top, and I can do let's do like 50% for here, and then transform. We're gonna do a translates along the Y and make it minus 50%. And then basically let's make the color hashtag out of F, and let's do C index to 10. So let's save this real quick. And right now you can't really tell anything because one, I don't even have the icon inside here, and two is some of this might not make sense, but essentially this is the way we will actually, when we click on it, it's going to adjust accordingly. So next thing, I want to have the font size to be 1.5 rem, and then I can have the border to be none, and also the background to be none. And for now, also let's do cursor pointer. Let me just save this. Also, let's do padding of 0. So a good thing is actually we should add in the actual icons so you can see it better. So in order to get the icons to display, go ahead and navigate over to this website called fontawesome.com. And essentially, once you create an account, you should see a screen similar to this. And they've updated over the past years, but essentially just need to click on this Your Kits tab. And this is free to use. However, they do have a premium option as well. But essentially, you need one line of code. Now, there's other ways where you can download it and incorporate it in your projects, but this is the easiest way, and this is the way where I'm going to show you how to do it. Is just set up icons in a project with one line of code. Now, if you don't have a kit created, you can click add new kit and set it up from there. But since I already have mine made, it will look like this when you're done. Now, depending on when you're watching this, again, if you've used FontAwesome for years and you just haven't updated your kit, you might have this issue where you copy the link and you don't see the icon. So just to be sure, in case nobody has that issue, is one, check the version. So this one right now is version 6. And you can go to the settings here and update this as well. So again, if you are just starting out right now, you don't have to worry about this because it's probably already set to the latest version of 6. But before, when I checked, mine was on 5 and I had issues with regards to actually displaying the icon. So just double check if you have the latest version they have, and then go back here to the setup. Now, here we can just copy in this line of code. Now, obviously you'd want to copy in the one on your project because this one is for tutorial sake, and there are limits again too on like page visits and stuff. So if you end up using my free version, it doesn't make any sense, especially if you end up actually publishing the website. So again, make sure you actually have your own link, because if I end up deleting this or the count or whatever and you end up copying it, it's not going to work for your website. So just keep that in mind. And here, basically, you just need to go in here and paste this in right inside of this head tag on your index.html page. So just double check, and you could do comments. So if you wanted to, for example, like command / or control / this creates a comment. And if you don't know what comments are, they essentially don't impact your code at all. This essentially is just to help you understand, or other people looking at your code, what the line means. So you can say this is the font awesome link, or whatever you want to name it. And now when someone reads this code, they can clearly see this is the link for the font awesome. You can even go here for the styles, but that's not necessary here. Now, one thing to note is the previous version, I had different icons. They have updated the name since. So what we actually need to do is we can go here to the search, or you can just click on the icons. Let me just click on icons to show you. And I already have most of the icons remembered. However, I just need to update the naming. But for example, if you want to have this hamburger menu for the mobile, you just type in the word bar, and this will display all the icons. So for the free version, we have just this one. Now you can see the Pro has a ton of different icons, and to be honest, if you need them, then obviously you can upgrade, but we don't need it for this project. So we're just gonna go with the bar, click it, and all you need to do is just click and copy the code snippet here. And this is the updated version. So again, I believe if they were to change this in the future, then you'd have to go back, because this was a previous version. But this one, you can see, let's go back to the one I had originally written, and let's switch this out. So you could just paste this over it, and now we can see the difference is this says FA solid. So this is crucial, because now when we save this, if I were to go back to our websites, you can see we have this right here. There's nothing showing. If I refresh it now, you can see, look, we have it right here, a bar showcasing. So it looks like our icon is working perfectly. So if this is not showcasing for you, one, double check that you are using, again, the latest version for Font Awesome, which I showed you earlier. And two, make sure you have it in the head of your file. And then three, make sure that you have the correct class name written, and then it should be good to go. If any of those are not working, then there must have been a typo somewhere in your code, but hopefully everyone has it working for them. Now, let's continue with editing this Navbar. So the first thing is, it's in mobile, so we can't have these options showcasing in mobile view. It doesn't make any sense. So what I want to target, and we can go in here, and for example, if we're looking at the media screen, the media query, we can have the 968 as the current pixels. But for this one, let's go ahead and just toggle, or not say toggle, we should go ahead and target, where is it at? The navbar menu, which would be this UL that surrounds all of our menu items. So home, services, pricing, etc. Now, let's just go under here, and I'll just say .navbar_menu. And let's go ahead and do flex direction. And I want to do column. So if you were to see here right now, it looks a little bit strange, but that's fine, don't worry. Because again, it's not even supposed to be visible when we're on this. But Let's do justify content, flex starts, and then align items to the center. And then I want the position, and I want it to be fixed. And then I want it to have it at the top of 80 pixels. And right now you might be wondering, what is this? This makes no sense. So let's do this. Before I continue, let me go ahead and first I want to showcase the actual navbar being seen. So let's do navbar underscore menu dot active, and let's do left of 0 and opacity at 1. So right now it is not currently showcasing as active yet. So we can go down here and let's target the navbar item. So navbar underscore item, and I want to have it as a width of 100%, and then also display of flex and justify content of center. So right now we still don't see anything. So what we need to do is we need to go to our app.js and we need to update this code here. So this is the first line of JavaScript we're going to be writing. Now, if you've never written JavaScript, don't worry, but if you have, this should be pretty familiar. And essentially we're going to say const, because this value is not going to change. We're going to target, or we're just going to call this the menu. So this, again, we're just naming it this particular name. You want to say 1, 2, 3 like this, feel free, but I'm just showing you for example. And it's equal to, and you say document. And there's many things you can select, but this one, we're going to do query selector, not all, just query selector. And in here, we have to input the thing we're going to target. So this is usually classes or IDs. So what I want to target is the mobile menu ID. So hashtag mobile dash menu. So what that means is we're going to, where is it? Right here, the button, aka the this guy right here, the hamburger menu. That is what we are targeting. So now let's do another const, and this will be menu, and I'll call this links, and equal to document dot query selector again, and I'm gonna just target the class of navbar underscore menu. And then underneath that, we need to add an action. So we're gonna select the mobile menu, the hamburger icon, which we called the name of it. We named it menu. So we created this ourselves. So we're gonna say menu dot add event listener. So event listener, essentially, it listens or it waits for something to happen, whatever you specify. So for this, we're gonna say parentheses quotes click. So when something clicks, I want this function. So we're gonna say function with parentheses. Outside of that, we're gonna do curly braces, enter. I want this function to perform an action. So for example, on the menu, aka again, menu is just referencing the ID of mobile menu, which is referencing this literally the hamburger menu button. I want the class list. So what this does, class list, you can toggle, which essentially it can change the class list, or the class I should say, depending on what you have. So if I say is active or menu links dot class list, and I say dot toggle active. Now it looks like did I miss another? No, let me save this really quick, and let me see, why is it saying a red right here? Expected comma, so must have mistyped something. Okay, function, there we go, because I was wondering why the class list wasn't yeah, there we go, now it's auto-filling. Okay, that was weird. Okay, so if we were to go and go back to the styles, for example, and right now it's not showing anything because we don't have anything active yet. And in terms of the actual styles for the CSS, we just have this one right here. So if we go back to our index, we can see we have the navbar and basically ID mobile menu. So in our styles right now, if we were to toggle this, aka we're targeting the nav menu here, this one, we need to add these scripts at the bottom of the body section first to make this JavaScript code work. Because if I just go here right now, if I refresh, click it, nothing happens because there is no JavaScript added. So all you need to do is go to the bottom right before the closing body tag, do a script, and you can say src, you can tab it here, and pretty much just say app.js. And now, let me just erase this. We go here. If I click it, we can see right now nothing's happening. But if I go here and I'll say console.log parenthesis, it worked. So now if I refresh, if I console.log right now, we can see this is not clicking properly. Oh, actually, look, hold on. Let me make sure. Let me refresh really quick. Okay, so we have the bar. Let me zoom into this because it's hard to see. If I click it, okay, no, never mind. Now it is working. Just kidding. So what that means is when we click it, the JavaScript code is running, and that means everything is good to go. So what that means now is we just need to update the styles so that we can actually see the menu showcasing on the screen. So let's go back and let's just double check our code real quick. So here we have the Navbar menu. So what I want to do is click on the bar here, and let me just refresh this really quick. So technically we need to continue editing some code here because right now it's not in position of the phone. So right now the left, I'm gonna have it at minus 100%, and then the width, I'm gonna have it at 100%. And then for the height, I want to do this calculation where it takes 100% and it subtracts the 80 pixels, which is the navbar height. And then we can do an opacity of 0. Am I spelling this wrong? Let me make sure. Opacity. Oh, it's missing the, here we go, yeah. Thought I spelled right. Okay, opacity of 0. And then we'll do a transition of all 0.5 SEs with a background color hashtag 131313 is pretty much like a slightly dark black. And then we'll do z index of, let's just do 8 for example, like 10 is fine. And then margin of 0. So here, this is the nav bar. So let me refresh. Let's click real quick. And look, we got it going. It's working now. So basically this code right here, especially like this part, it just is pretty much moving it over because it starts originally from subtracting basically minus 100, and then this active is bringing it back to 0. And you can see here it's currently invisible right now, even though technically it's hidden here. When I click it, it showcases and then it turns the opacity to 1. And then also you can see the navbar items. We just basically display flex this into the center. And that's pretty much the look there. And then the rest, like z index, that just keeps it above. And then the height calculation. This 80 pixels is the size I have for my nav bar. So it basically, it's calculating and it's starting at that point. So the next one I just want to update is the sign up button. So we can make a comment here. So you do the command / or control / and you can say sign up button. And for the actual desktop, so navbar __ btn, and I already have this autofilling here, we could just say display to be none. And look, the button has disappeared. And then we can do it again. So I can actually just say .navbar __ button mobile, and we can say display of flex, justify content center, and then we can do padding, and I want to do bottom of 2 rem, and let's just keep a width of 100%. This, and then the last thing is I want to just make the well, let's look at this first. Yeah, so it looks like this, and then we can do dot button. You can say width, let's do 80%. Let's do a height of 60 pixels, and justify content, let's make it center. And let's see, I have to refresh real quick. And currently this is what it's looking like right now. So looks like my button is not doing what I want it to look like. So let me go ahead and let me make sure I refresh again. 1 second. Oh, one thing I did forget is this spacing. I don't like it. So I need to go back, and we can go right here under. So if we start at the media query, go under the navbar menu item, we can just do it here. Again, it doesn't matter where, as long as you're inside of this 968 media query. We can do dot navbar underscore links, and let's make this text align center, padding to rem. Let's do width of 100%, display flex, and justify content center. And if I refresh, click on here. All right, this did not, it should have, hold on. Make sure I refresh again, just to make sure. I don't think it actually fully refreshed. All right, let's see. Yeah, so it looks like it didn't actually, oh, it should be links, my bad. There we go. Here we go, yeah. Okay, so the one thing I don't see is this sign up is not applying the button. So if I go here, let me click into this, and this is a good way to debug code as well. If you notice like something's not working, let me see. So does this not have navbar underscore btn, which should be here? Do I have, let me check 1 second. Index. So here's the button. Oh no, that's not it, my bad. This one, navbar underscore btn. So I figured out why it's not showcasing the button on mobile. So I try to undo it on iPad, so desktop, essentially this view, and clearly the styles are targeting that class dot button. But when we go to mobile responsive view, once it loads real quick, it's not. And the reason is because if you see, the desktop option has the class button, but the sign up doesn't. So we can just switch this here, and now if I click, look, we have our button here. But the only issue is now is the alignment for this is not correct. So let me see what happened here. So I'm looking at the button class CSS, and I've noticed I have not added display of flex, and then align items of center. There we go. Let's go. Okay, so now if I click it, you can see this is our current mobile menu. Let me just zoom in really quick, and then when I unclick it, you can see it looks like this. So pretty much if I change this to any of these phones, so like we can go Pixel, let's just go here, click it, and this is what it looks like now. And that is the way to make the navbar with the mobile responsive. So now if we exit out of here, looks like everything is still working fine. Now let's go ahead and continue with the rest of the site. So if we were to test this out, we can see when I click it, it goes out and then back. And we can also compare this to let's go on the Galaxy Fold, which is a very small screen, and let's just see how this looks here. And as you can see, it's looking fine. So let me just switch over to like the 14 and let it load. There it is. And everything looks like it's good. Now, if we zoom in on my browser, there's this gray line looking into it. Now, if we were to try to override this, it looks like there is something on the font awesome, the classes. So if we were to go here, and an example, if I click on line height, I believe that removes it. So I noticed that if I were to manually try to override this using their classes, it doesn't seem to work. So a trick is, if we want to, we can just go here to the media query here, and we can target fa-bars, which is one of the class names, and we can say line height normal. Except if we just do normal like this and I try to refresh it, you'll see like it's still there. So we need to override that by saying important. And for some reason, I'm not sure why it's happening on this particular icon, but if you don't have that issue, then you are good to go. But that is just one little quick workaround that I've noticed when it comes to removing that. So now again, we can just go see everything. Looks like it's working fine. And looks like we can continue now with coding the rest of the website. So the next section is going to be the hero section. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So let's navigate back over to the index.html file, and let's just go underneath this header tag here, and let's continue with the hero section. So I can just do command slash or control slash to make a comment, and we can just call this the hero section. Again, this is not necessary, I'm just doing it so you can see. Add some spacing here, and let's go ahead and let's do a main tag, and we'll wrap everything with this. And let's go ahead and create this. I'll use a section, and I'll say dot hero to form the class, and then inside of this I want to have a div, and I'll just call this hero underscore underscore container. Press tab, and then inside of this container will contain the content. So I'm gonna say div dot hero underscore underscore content. Press tab, and now we can start writing in some of our content. So I'll start off with the h1, and this is going to be just a simple text. So we can say something like the easiest way to open a digital bank account. Again, this is just filler information, and then fill this in whatever you'd like. And we're gonna use a paragraph tag, so P, press tab here, and I'll just say join today and receive, we'll just make something like $250 in credits, and then we'll say valid for new customers only in select states. Make sure I spelled this right, and I'll just press a period there. Now underneath this p tag, so let me go ahead and shrink this up a little bit. Here we go. So here underneath the p tag, I want to have a button showing. So let's just go ahead and do button dot, and we'll just call this hero underscore underscore btn. Press tab, and I'll just name this sign up. Now in theory, you could replace this with an a tag, but again, just for tutorial's sake, I'm gonna keep it like this. But ideally you could have this at the end once I show you how to do the technically you could just do it like this with this sign up, but for now we'll just keep it like that if you wanted to have it having a link that's clickable. But for now, let's keep it like this, and then outside of this div we're gonna press enter, and essentially this div is, think of this as the left side of the design, so the left box. So there's gonna be two boxes essentially on this section. The next one we'll just call this div, and I'll say dot hero underscore underscore image. So now this is the next div. This is like the right side. So on the right side, what I want to have inside of here is the image. And right now we do not have an image added in here, which I'll show you where I got this, but we'll just press tab here. For now, since we don't have anything, I'm just gonna keep it blank. But the alt tag, this is ideally what you want to use to describe it. So for example, we can say, well, ideally it's gonna be an illustration. So we'll say illustration of, we'll call this like next generation technology. Now I think the image has a credit card. So you can say like illustration of like, let's just say like credit card. Again, this is literally just to help people understand the image of credit card. And for now, we'll keep it like this. And then we'll just go ahead and save it. So the next thing is we need to create a folder. So we'll just call this images. And if we go to our actual design, let me just refresh it really quick. You can see nothing, and it's like underneath the navbar, which is fine. We'll edit that in a second. But I need to show you first where to get this image. So here I am on this website, undraw.co. I've known about them for years and used them in a lot of projects previously. So pretty much what you do is you select a color of your choosing. So for the actual website, if we go to here, I was using this color. So again, if you don't want to use this, it doesn't matter. Just use whichever one. And then this is pretty much the green. And then you can just type in something like banking or whatever topic you want. And you just choose image. So I think this was the one, credit card. And then you just click download, either PNG or SVG. Again, the difference is basically in terms of when you scale it and the quality. But for right now, at least SVGs typically are, I'd say, more recommended if you're going to use it and you're going to change the sizing and everything. But also PNG is okay if the image fits your project. And I don't know if there's a different, but there's a lot. So there's a bunch of options. You don't have to pick the one I showed you. But again, it's up to you, because some of these images or SVGs have different dimensions. But basically download that. And then when we go back to our site, you just drag this into your image folder, and that's the setup. So I'm gonna go ahead and find the file. I already have it downloaded, so I'm just gonna import this real quick. So I actually have it here. I'm using the SVG format, and I just named this hero-pic-1. And you can see here, this is the code. So you don't actually see the actual image as if you were using a PNG. And now, if we were to go into the SRC, when we press /, it'll show us our file directory. We have images. And then we have hero SVG pic. So again, save it. And it makes sure you have it in this order, or else you're not gonna be able to see this correct file path, unless you do have a different setup and you know how to navigate the folders. And obviously you can change it, but for simplicity's sake, this is what it looks like right now. So basically everything's stacked on top of each other. You can't really see the text underneath it, but if I scroll a little bit, you can see. Now we need to add in some CSS. So let's just go all the way to the bottom here. We can say this one, comments with command / or control / hero CSS. And now let's go ahead and start designing the hero section. So the first thing is I want to start off with the .hero class and target the background color. And I like to use this. So let's do #141414. Save it. It's nice. It's not actual like full black. It's like a slightly lighter black color. But again, it's just all preference. And then let's target the hero container. So this again contains, this is the, if you go back, it's contains the two divs, aka like the squares I was trying to represent. And let's just say if we do display grid, and then let's say grid template columns, and I want this to be 1FR 1FR. So think of this as like the left side and the right side. So you can see here the left side and the right side. It's hard to see with the navbar in the way, but you'll see eventually once we start adding more. Let's do align items, make them centered. Let's make the margin, I want the top and bottom to be 0, and left and right can make it auto. And let's do the heights. I'll just do 90 viewport height, so it'll be like essentially like 90%. We do save this right now, you'll see. you can't really see the color right now, but that's what it looks like now. So it's starting to get a little bit better. And then let's go ahead and make a list width of 100%. And then I'll do padding of 0, and let's do 50 pixels. And I want the max width to be, let's do 1300 pixels here. So now this keeps us like within this like same design, so it doesn't matter how big the screen is, it'll be relatively within here. Now again, if you do have ginormous like computer screen or TV, that the max is only gonna stay in that 1300. But again, it's just up to you on the customization you want to add. So now for the hero content, let's do hero content. This goes up. And maybe it might be hard to see. Let me zoom in. Okay, yeah, that's probably better. All right, yeah. My bad if it was a little bit difficult to see now. Hopefully that's better. But now let's do color. Hashtag FFF, which makes this white here. And then I want to target the content H1. So this is just the easier way to do it if you don't have class names on the child elements. So you could technically put like IDs and stuff too, but again, this is such a simple setup that I can just do it like this. And now let's go ahead and say font size. Let's do 4 rem, and I want the color. Well, the color is already white right now, so let me just see first. Oh yeah, okay, it's fine here. And then let's go ahead and do hero underscore content P. And let's create the margin. I want some spacing above the paragraph description. So let's make this, let's do 1 rem for now. Font size, let's do 1.2 rem. Let's see how this looks. Okay, it's not bad. And again, if you wanted these to be different colors, you just change it by saying color red, for example, and it's just like that. And another comment is you might be thinking, if you don't know like why I did it like this with the H1, why can't I just say like H1? Well, because if there's multiple H1s on your website, then that could just it updates everything. So this is specifically targeting just this section. And now let's go ahead and let's deal with the hero button. So hero underscore btn. Go down here and let's make this one. First of all, let's make the font size. I want this to be 1 rem. The background, I want it to be the same green color. So let's see if I have it saved. The OC48, yeah, like this one. Padding, let's make the padding. So for this, we can switch to rem, but also I'll just do pixels for specific sake. But technically, you can update this. Like if you were to do like 16 pixels by 32, that would just be 1 rem by 2 rem. But it looks a little bit bigger to me, so I'm gonna keep it to like 14. And then I want the border to be none. So it looks a little clean, but it's too sharp the corners. So we need to make this the border radius. I'll just do 4 pixels, so it's like a slight curve, okay. And obviously we do need to change, let me see, what's the color? Yeah, the font. So color, hashtag FFF. Let's do margin dash top to rem. Cursor pointer, which makes essentially, you can see our little hand. And then let's do the outline, make none, and then also transition right here. And this is going to make the like a smoother effect when we do a hover over it. So right now this line doesn't do anything because we don't have the hero underscore btn hover effect, which we'll just say background, and I'll do hashtag. This is to be like a little darker. You can change this to whatever color, but let's do 0BA467. And then let's do transform. Again, this is not necessary. This is just for effects. We can do translate. Let's do Y with like a -2 pixel. So it's like super subtle. And let's make box shadow. Not box sizing, box shadow. Let's do 0.4 pixels. 8 pixels. RGBA parentheses 0 0, comma 0.2. And if we hover over it, you can't really tell the box sizing, but if you were to change the background to white, you'd definitely notice it more. But see how it moves up, slight little effect. And that's so far we got here. And now I want to update the image. So let's say .hero underscore img. Say text align center. And the next thing is, let me check, did I have? All right, so I didn't add an ID to the image, the actual SVG. So I'm gonna say ID equals to hero. I'll just say dash img for now. And now we'll go to styles. I'll say hashtag hero dash img. And I want to make the width 80% and the height also 80%. So if we go back, you can see it has changed. And also if we go to the, if I try to change this, you'll see it actually update according to the screen. Let me see. Yeah, so like it's updating as we go, which is a nice little effect I like for now. And the hero section is pretty much there, but we do need to update the mobile side. So let's go underneath here real quick, and let me go ahead and start the mobile responsiveness. So now we can just do a comment here. We can say hero mobile responsive CSS. Again, just names whatever you want to. So we'll say at media screen, and let's do max width of, let's do 768 pixels, and let's target the hero underscore container. And then here I'm gonna say grid template columns 1FR, and then let's go to height, make this auto, and then padding 60px by 0px. So now let me switch this to mobile view real quick. And I'll just have this on, make sure I have this line, yep. Have this just on the iPad mini, for example. So now if I go here, let's continue. I'll say .hero underscore content. We can say text align, let's make this centered. Let's do margin dash bottom for rem. And the padding to be 0 and 32 pixels. Save this. So far it's looking aligned now. Next, the hero underscore content, we'll do the H1. We'll say font size 2.5 rem. And I want the margin top to have spacing of 2 rem. So again, technically you could just say this is 2 rem as well. Again, for pixels. And for the, let's see, hero underscore content P, we'll say font size 1.5 rem. Refresh. That's what we got so far. And now let's see, this is the first media screen query. So now I want to do at media screen, and let's do max width 480 pixels. Hero underscore container. So I have to change this first. Let's do let's switch this to like iPhone Pro. Let's go here. Let's do width of 100 viewport width. Let's do .hero underscore content H1, and I feel like it doesn't look zoomed in for some reason. Okay, yeah. And let's say let's do font size 2 rem, margin dash top of 3 rem. Okay, and then I want the hero underscore content P to be font size, and actually this one looks fine. We can leave it at 1.5. I think it'd be okay here because this one's already there. And let's just do .hero underscore btn of padding. Let's do 12 pixels by Yeah, pixels by 36. And let's do margin 2.5 rem top bottom, left right 0. 0 like this. So that's what we got so far. And this is currently how it's looking for our mobile view. So if we switch this over, let's try Galaxy Fold, see how this looks. Looks like it's fitting. Let's see the, where's it at? iPad Air. Looks like this. iPad Mini. Looks like this. So technically for this, we could add some more padding on the top if we wanted to, but let's just see. Let me go back here. Let me play around with some of this. So if we change this to 100, adds a little bit more space, but then it also adds padding on the bottom too. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you were to just change this like 20, so I think like 120 is okay for now. It looks all right for this particular design. But again, it's up to you. Feel free to edit this. This is just a guide on how I have mine like this. So technically, if you wanted to, for the hero container, you could just leave the padding, and we can go, instead of saying 120, we can just say 60 and 0. That way the smaller screens don't have like a crazy like 120 looks too much on the smaller screens. So 60 looks good here, and then for like the tablets and stuff, I think it looks fine. Maybe the Surface Pro, yeah, it doesn't even have but that's what we got. So let's go back to a responsive, or actually let me close this out really quick. There we go. Now we have the hero section. So now let's go ahead and start creating the next sections. So the next thing I want to do is add in the rotating logos. So here, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm back here on the page, and pretty much, let me exit out because I think it shows like a different, yeah, okay, that's fine, okay. So here we are inside of the main, and what I want to do is we'll go back inside of this, and we'll press enter. And what I want to do is, let's just add a comment. So command slash or control slash, and just call this the rotating logo section. Now, I don't have logos for the example, and I'm not trying to use the images of big name brands just for purposes in terms of copyright. But ideally, if you actually have companies with logos that you've done or you've worked with, if you're going to add them on your site, this is what you would replace it with instead of the text that I'm adding here. So first off, let's go ahead and tab in. Let's do div, and I'll add a class and call this one rotating dash logos, and press tab and then enter. And again, the class name here is all preference if you want to make it double underscore or not. I'm just showing you different ways. But here we can do, let's do another div, and we'll do dot rotating dash logos underscore underscore, and we'll just call this track. And essentially this is the section or the div that is going to contain all of our logos. And in this example, these are just going to be span tags with text. So for example, I'll just say span dot logo dash text tab, and I'll just put caps, and I just made up some random company name, so I'll put like Legion here, doesn't really matter. And then now once you added the first one, we can just go ahead and we'll copy this, and I'll just press enter, paste. That'll be 3, 4, and then I'll do 5 and 6. So let's do 6 total, and let's just update these. So I'll call this one trust. This one can be called distributor. We'll just come like this. This one can be venture X, and here we can call this one capital. And I'll just try to come up with names that are like similar to, you know, like bank style, and we'll call this one hedgies. All right, so now this is here, and the reason I do 6 is the CSS is designed for this specifically to rotate continuously, because if you do less, then you're gonna have to update the CSS. But let's go here and let's go enter, add a comment, command slash or control slash. We'll just call this rotating, don't caps, rotating logos. So now let's go ahead and do dot rotating dash logos. And I'll first off say overflow hidden. Next, I want to have a padding of 40 pixels, then 0. So 40 top bottom, 0 left right, background. This one's just going to be like a slight white version, but basically F8, F8, F8. And then I want to have white space. So white dash space, no wrap. So here, let's take a look real quick. And look at this, we got the logos there. So now let's continue. So I'm gonna say dot rotating dash logos colon hover. And then we're gonna do dot rotating dash logos underscore track. And what this is going to do is when we hover over the logo section, it can pause it. So you don't need this if you don't want it. This is just something to have just in case. And we'll just call this animation, and look for the one that says dash play dash states and just call it as pause. And then we'll do dot rotating dash logos underscore track, and I want this to display as inline block. And then I want the animation to be rotate. We'll do 12s, linear, and infinite. So now we have this here, and currently it's not moving because we still aren't finished yet. First, I want to do the dot logos or logo.text, and I want this to be font size of, let's just do 40 pixels for now. Font weight, I want it to be bold. Color, let's do hashtag, and it's like a slight different color, so we'll say like 2B302D, and let's make a margin of 0 and 40 pixels. So now this is how it looks now. So all we need to do is add the keyframe effect. So this can be done with CSS, and it's very simple. You can also do it with JavaScript, and again, for this basic project, CSS is fine. With you start to use different frameworks and more advanced languages, then obviously you can adjust. But for now, let's just say keyframes. Let's do keyframes, rotate, and I want to do 0%. And this is the starting, and I want it to transform, translate across the x-axis at 0, and then I want 100% to transform, translates across the x, but this time be minus 100%. So now you can see, let's take a look at it. This is currently what it's looking like right now. So in theory, this is working. However, you notice that it's only showing it one time, and then it essentially resets. So what it means is you pretty much have to add it twice so that it is basically showing, instead of 6, it's showing 12. So at least we can see the hover pause is working. But technically you could hard code it where you like copy and paste these again to where it's like 12 of them, and essentially that would just be 6 by 6 going through this size. But we can actually add JavaScript now and make it to where we don't have to sit there and copy the code ourselves. And let me show you how to do that now. So let's go ahead and go under here and let's just say function to make logos move. And again, we're going to make const, and I'll just name this one logos. And I'm going to select the document. So document, let me make sure I have the spaces. And we're going to do query selector just like above. And we're going to target the rotating dash logos underscore track. And we need to make sure this is in quotes because that is why we see the error. Make sure it's only one. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do clone. So we're essentially copying it. So we're going to say clone node and set it to true. And then underneath this line, we're going to say document dot query selector. And we're going to do quotes dot rotating dash logos. And I want to append. So we're going to append the child of the logos, which is the term we created here. And now, if we were to go here and look at our code, you can see it's technically, it looks like it's working, but let's go ahead and just refresh the page to make sure everything is working perfectly. And looks like, yeah, it looks like I think it worked. Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, okay, so refreshed. And you can see we have it, and I believe Hedgies was the last logo. And then it resets again to Legion. That'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then pretty much continues on again. So the thing to keep in mind is that this only, at least this current style is 4.6. If you had less, that means it would take up less space. And essentially you'd have to update some of the CSS in order to compensate for that, or you just have to update the spacing in between in terms of these words individually. But for now, that is the rotating section. So now let's go ahead and continue with the next section. So the next section, let's go underneath this div, but still in the main. And let's pretty much go here. And I'll just call this the Why Choose Us section. And essentially this is just literally the name, Why Choose Us. And let's start off, we'll make a section, and I'll just call the class name Why Choose Us. And you can always name this features, benefits, whatever, literally whatever you want to, but for simplicity's sake, it'll be easier for to follow along. And here, let's just create, I'm just gonna call this a basic container for right now. And this essentially is just going to include an h2, which contains Why Choose Us. And then underneath h2, I'll just have a p tag with a class of intro text. So you can, again, you can get fancy. You could say like features container, features text. Like it's, again, it's all up to you. How do you want to customize it? But let's just go ahead and fill this in. And this is just simple made up descriptions for services that a website could have. So we'll say something like, discover how our financial, let me make this sure to spell it, financial and investment management, SaaS for shorts, can help you take control of your finances with ease. And let me make sure, with ease and efficiency. And then let's go ahead and we're pretty much going to continue with this for the next, let's see, the intro text first. This is just the top version, but now we're going to make the card section. So underneath this p tag, we need to press enter. And now we're going to create our divs, and this essentially is the features section here. So we'll say div dot, and I'll call this features dash grid. And in here, I'll have another div with the class name feature dot item. And then in here, I'll have an icon. So I dot, call this icon. And again, we'll have to go back to Font Awesome in terms of the actual one, but let's just do this because they have updated one just in case. So go here, let's call this lock, and let's see, hold on, make sure, yeah, okay. So we'll go here, click here, FA solid, FA lock. So go back and just paste this in here. And then underneath this, we'll have an H3, and it's just gonna be, let's just say secure and reliable. So here we have this, and then underneath the H3, we're gonna have a paragraph, and it'll just be a description again. So we'll say like we prioritize, and again, if you want to just make a bunch of letters, you can too. So say your financial, let's say security with end-to-end encryption. And then we'll say ensuring your data is protected 24/7. Okay, so this is our first tab here. And the next one I want to do is, let's go ahead and we could just copy this down. So ideally, if we were to select the features item, we could go down here and then just press enter 1 and then 2 and 3. So it should be 4 different options here. So now if we save it, we can see that Prettier has made it shorter, so we can see what I have in the wrap. And if we go back, we should see there. Okay, so all we need to do now is basically update the icons and pretty much the description. So for example, the next one is going to be a chart. So let's go here, exit off this, and let me just type in chart. And let's just click this one. Now, if you want to skip this base, feel free, but pretty much I'm just going to show you exactly which ones I'm using. So let's do chart first. And then let's do the third and fourth icons too. So let's say I want users, and then another one is this meter. So let's go users. And then just click on this one, free. Let me make sure I copy that right. Copied. Go over to, let's make sure it's lock, simple. All right, the third one, and then the fourth one, we can just call this, it's called like tech. So let me type this in. Tachometer, see what pops up here. And has like this gauge, but again, this icon literally is irrelevant. Just pick whatever thing looks good to you, and we'll just click and paste. So now I just need to update the heading. So here we'll go for the second one. We'll say AI powered insights. The third option, we'll change this to user friendly, and let's say interface. And then the fourth one, we can say real-time data. So the next is just updating description. So for the second one, so we have secure, reliable AI-powered insights. So I can say like our intelligent AI systems provides actionable financial insights to help you grow your wealth. Let me say it real quick so I can see it. And optimize investments. And the next, number 3, user-friendly interface. We can say here are modern intuitive interface. Make sure I spell this right. Makes engaging your finances simple and stress-free. Save till I can fix the line. And then we can say regardless of your financial expertise. And then the last one, and then I'll redo style after this. So let's do this real quick. Access real-time financial data to make faster, better informed decisions for your personal or, let's say real quick, business finances. Okay, that took forever, but we are good. Now let's just go ahead and start styling this. All right, so Let's go double check, make sure everything is working first. Yep, 4 icons, 4 titles, 4 descriptions. Looks good to me. Okay, so let's call this the Why Choose Us features section. And let's go underneath this and let's start styling. So first off, Why Choose Us class. I'll call this background color and I want to make it the green. So this one is the, let's just do 0ABF77. And then I'm gonna add some padding first. We'll say 100 pixels and then 20 pixels. And then let's do text align to be center. So now we have like this style here. And then let's do Why Choose Us, the H2. And I want to say font size. Let's do 3 rem. Margin dash bottom. Let's do 20 pixels for this one. And let's do color FFF. Okay, we got some white text here. Next thing, Why Choose Us. Let's do the dot intro dash text. Let's say font size. We can do 2 rem. Color hashtag FFF for white. Margin dash bottom. Let's do 50 pixels here. The max width, let's keep it at 1000 pixels. And then the margin left, I want it to be auto and margin. Yeah, so tail we could just do like this. We could say margin, top, bottom, left, right, like that. There we go. So let's see here, and now it has that 1000 max width, so it's like fits like in this design. So if you want to be longer, bigger screen, again, you can remove the max width or update it to a bigger size. Then let's do features dash grid. Let's display flex. Let's do flex wrap of wrap. Let's do justify content center, and I'll want a gap of 24 pixels, so like this. And now we need to, it doesn't look like it, hold on. Yeah, it looks like, okay, we'll keep it like this for now. And then I want to see, yeah, I should have actually, hold on, features dash grid. Is that the right, did I spell this right? Yeah, features, yeah, here. Let me just refresh again. We'll test it out in a second, but let me continue making the, so let's do feature dash item. I want the background color to be basically just black here. And then I need to add some box shadow. So let's do here, 0 pixels, 4 pixels, 20 pixels, RGBA, and we'll just put 0, 0. We can keep it the same, the 2, we can use the same one, doesn't matter to me too much. And let's do border radius. Let's make this one 10 pixels and then padding 30 all around. And let's do text align to be left. And I want the max width of these cards to be 300 pixels. So this is what we got right now. And you can't see anything because, well, the coloring is black. And now the next thing is I want to update the color. So of the icon first, so let's do dot feature item. And I'm going to say dot, or I'll say I dot icon. And you're probably thinking, what is this dot icon? So we need to add another class name onto each icon. So like here, because since FA solid is on the other icons on different sections, it's going to affect the other one. So I'll save it like this. This way, if we say, for example, font size 2.5 rem, color, hashtag FFF, and then margin bottom of 50 pixels, we can see all the icons are changed, which is what I want. And then I'll do feature item again, H3, say font size, let's do 1.5 rem, color, hashtag FFF, and margin bottom of 10 pixels. So now we got stuff here. And then let's go underneath here. and I want to target now the feature item p tag, and we can say font size 1 rem, color hashtag FFF, line height, and let's say 1.6. And now let's take a look at this. You can see this is what it currently looks like. It doesn't look like the p tag up here. Let's see. That's H2. Where's my H2's here? Intro text is the other one. Yeah. This is 550. Let me try 500 real quick. So it doesn't look like it's pushing in. So maybe did I miss something on the div? Let me double check real quick. So I realize now the issue and the reason why this is not having the spacing is because on the intro text, I forgot I should have just done it like this. So I should have said margin dash left auto and margin dash right auto, because this adding this 0 puts a 0 on the actual top and bottom. So now it looks nice and beautiful. So let us inspect the page, and now we can go ahead and just work on the responsiveness. Let's do iPhone XR for now. So you can see for the most part it wraps, and since it's wrapping, it pretty much, it looks good so far without having to do too much CSS. However, the only thing is like the text maybe. Let's just see, for example, let's go here. So let's say like at media, and we can do max width of, let's do 768 pixels. Let's actually just do dot y choose us dot intro text, and I just want the font size to be 1.5 rem. So first off, let's see how this looks. So this is on the Galaxy Fold. So right now it looks like it's okay. Now let's try something on the tablet real quick, because I want to test something out here. Yeah, so now you can see there's the tablet view. So ideally, I would like this to be into the grid form. So we can say dot features dash grid. Let's do flex direction column and align items center. Let's see. Oh, this is technically 768. So this should be the air. No. Let me make sure. The mini. So technically, if we did, let's go to the Pro real quick. Let me make sure if I change this to like 11 real quick. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so technically on the 11. So if you did want it to be larger, then obviously feel free to change it. And then let's make the feature item, the max width to be 100%. Okay. So again, you could add the media query of putting it on a grid on the bigger screens, but again, that's up to you. Or you could change it to where it's like 2 by 2, which is also an option. But for now, I'm just gonna keep it like this, because people could also add, additional features too. So if you did add it again, like more features, it would completely change the CSS again. But for the most part, we have done this section. So let's take a look at the website so far. Looks like this. And now it seems like I did notice an issue on the mobile, which seems so annoying. So if anyone knows a different solution to this little icon using Font Awesome, definitely feel free to comment below. But as of right now, I'm going to assume it's the same one with the this line height issue. So let me see if this, because I said it was like important here. So let me see if me changing this to FA solid changes anything. Yeah. So FA solid does it on globally, it looks like, because every icon starts with that. So it looks like we have this here. And now let's go ahead and create the pricing section. This is my favorite part of the site. So let's go to the index HTML file and let's go under this section here. Let me add some spacing and let me zoom out a little bit. That's way a little bit better. Okay. So tab in and I'll just call this the pricing section. And we can start by having a section with the class of services. Now again, the previous one was more of a feature style, but again, the class name, feel free to update to your liking. We can do an H2 here and just say, choose the right plan for you. And now inside of here, I want to, let's call this the pricing toggle button. And this is where we'll continue with the actual card. You can think of it as like the monthly recurring pricing style. So we can say div dot, and let's do pricing dash toggle. And another cool trick is we can also do dot toggle dash container. And if you don't do a specific thing, if you just press tab, it also creates a div as well. So that's something to keep in mind. And we can make a span, and I'll call this one toggle dash option. And we'll have this say monthly. And this is going to be the little button switch so that when we press it, it can change from the monthly to yearly. And let's call this label with the class of switch. And inside, this is for, and for right now, I'll leave this blank. We can update this later. But what I want to do is have this input, and let's go ahead and have the ID on this, and we'll call this pricing dash toggle dash checkbox. So this type is actually going to be a checkbox. So it's important you use that as a type, or else it's going to be a different design. And then what I want to do is add this function, and it's going to be on click equals to, and make sure we have the quotes, switch pricing with a parenthesis. So we haven't actually created this yet. So you're probably thinking, what is this? We'll make this in the JavaScript, so don't worry. So let me save this really quick so you can see how everything is looking. And then we need to go outside of this input and make another span with the class called slider. And this will just be blank. And this will just work when we actually make the design. And now underneath this label, now we can add the next span, and the class will be toggle dash option. Make sure I spell this right. And then here we'll say yearly. So right now, if we were to go back to the site, you can see there is nothing showcasing right now. So this is essentially the little button, which you will notice once we actually add some CSS. But underneath this span, we have our div here. And then outside of this div, I'm going to create another div, and this will be the display of the discounted code. So we'll say dot save dash percentage dash container, and we can call this span dot, let's say save dash percentage, and we'll just put save 20%. So again, this is hard coded, and the calculations I made according to the actual price updates are based off of me manually typing this in. So again, if you have like a different pricing option, you can always change this, but for now we're just gonna keep it like this. And pretty much here, now let's go ahead and go underneath this div. So we'll go press enter. So now you can see there's two closing divs, and we still have the main, the section here. So that's how you know if you're on the right lines. And now let's go ahead and create the actual cards with the prices, the buttons, and the features. So I'll just call this one dot services underscore container. And here, let's go ahead and just create this one. We'll say for the comment, we could comment this and call this like the basic plan, for example. So that way we can see when we're looking at the code which one is which I mean it's not too hard to find out, but here we can say dot services underscore card. So this will be essentially the rectangle shape, and then we'll have another div, and I'll just call this card content. So this will contain the information. So let's do an H3, and I'll say basic plan. Now underneath the text, I'm gonna make another div. So I'll say dot card dash price, and in here we're gonna go ahead and put a p tag, and we'll say price, and we're gonna do two classes. We'll say price dot monthly price, and this one is just gonna be the starting. So I'll just put $10 and put like /mo for the month. If you're next to the line, I want you to do a cool trick. You can do Command Option down arrow, and it copies and pastes the line without you having to do much. So that's a cool little trick. So again, Shift Option down arrow. If not, just copy and paste it. And then here what we're going to do is we're going to change this to, this class is going to be yearly dash price, and then we're going to add another class called hidden, because when we press the button, we want to toggle it off, active essentially showing and hidden. So this, we can change this to $8 a month, and this is the discounted price off of the actual for yearly option. So then next, this basically will go underneath the p tag, and we could add like a comment saying like this is how the 20% showing, but for now we'll keep it like this. And I'm going to add in a tag, and this is going to essentially be the clickable button. So we'll say, so like I was showing earlier in the hero section, like this is just the actual button, but here we can use an a tag and make the CSS, make it look like a button. That way we can actually have it clickable. So in here, and then we'll say price dash btn href. For this, we'll just default it as sign up .html, which we do not actually have created yet, but that's just going to be the end link. And then we'll just say get started, so like this. And then underneath here, let's go ahead and do a p tag with the hashtag. So for ID, small dash DESC, just for description, and we'll say everything you need to get started. Save it, and now let's see. Let me actually refresh. And right now we have this. So you can see we have a little checkbox, and not looking too good, but it does look like I have the H capitalized. Okay. So this is pretty much the plan. So for example, if we look here, this is the div around the card price, the div around the card content, and the div around the services card. So underneath this first div, we're gonna press enter, because we're still inside of the this card content section. So make sure you are aware that we're still creating the first card. And I'm gonna make a div, we'll call this card dash features. And we'll say P, let's do say features here with a colon. And let's go ahead and use UL, LI for the list. Call this digital checking accounts. And now technically we could change this like an H3 or H4 too, but let's just do this Shift Option down arrow. And let's go ahead and call this one access to basic features. So now if we go back, we can see we have this so far. And let's go ahead and pretty much we got to copy and paste this this card as many times as you want it according to your how many options you have on your website. So what we need to do for the next card is just go up to the services card div. So when you select it, you can hold shift to click first, then hold shift and click again to select all. you'll still have this remaining div with the service container. So we're still going to be inside of that. So click Command C or Control C, do some spacing. I'll tab in, and that these are the three we have closing, so you know you're in the right section. Paste, so that's one. Shift enter to do the space like this. Paste, that's two. So all we need to do now is just update this. So we'll say standard plan. The pricing, we can say let's put 30, and then the discounted would be 24. Keep the get started. For the description here, let's go ahead and just say let me close this out. Perfect for individuals looking to take control of their finances. And the features here, we can actually add more features because these are premium options. So first off, let's do let's make 5. So I'll just paste 6 and I'll just delete this last line. And let's just save real quick. Everything's nice and neat. And let's say automatic expense tracking. Let's do customizable budgets. Let's make this one personalized financial reports. And let's go here. Let's do goal-based savings tracking. And this 5th one, we can put email and chat support. Save this. And then this is the last plan. We can call this one, let's do premium. Let's make this one the most expensive at $50 a month. And then let's make this one say 40. And then the get started, we'll keep it the same, but let's say ideal for investors and advanced users. And then for the features, let's make 6 options. So I'll just copy these here, paste twice, save real quick, and we can say automatic. Well, technically what we can do, let's see, we'll have basically, let's keep these first 2. So I'll just paste these in on the top. And then this 3rd option, we can update this, say personalized reports. This one we can say investment management. For this, we can do AI-powered financial insights. And then this one we can say priority support. So I'll save it here. So now if we look at the website, I'll refresh, this should be basically stacking on top everything. And now we can do the fun part, which is designing this. So let's go to the bottom. I'll say comment, command slash or control slash. We'll say, let's just call this the pricing plan CSS. And now let us begin coding out the CSS parts. So the first thing is, let's target the services. And I'm going to make the text align to the center. Let's make a padding of 2 rem by 1 rem. And let's make the C index of 1. Save. So right now we can see everything is nice in the center. So the next thing is, let's do dot services h2. I'll call this margin bottom of 2 rem. And then here we'll do pricing toggle. And I'm going to say display flex, align items center, justify content center. And then we'll do margin bottom of 2 rem for some spacing. And this gap is, we'll add some spacing between the elements. We'll do 1 rem. So now so far is what we have. You can't really see too much yet, but basically this is what it looks like so far. And then underneath here, I'm going to say dot toggle dash container. And here I'm going to say display flex here, and then align items to the center. And still right now, haven't seen any updates yet, but now we're going to go and say dot pricing dash toggle, and then dot toggle dash option. We'll say margin of 0.5 rem, font size 1 rem, color white. See how this is looking right now. And let's go ahead. Let me make sure I go back and make sure I have my classes. Okay, yeah. So right now what we're currently working on is the switch button. So you might not even notice it because you can't even see it. Technically it's there, it's just like it's in white. So like this is what we're currently working on right here. So technically I could just go like this and let's just do like background. Let's see, maybe purple or something like darker. Okay, yeah. So this will help you see it actually. Okay, there we go. So now you can see what we're coding right now. So underneath here, let's do the dot pricing toggle, and this is going to be the save percentage container. And then here we're going to say width 100 pixels, display of flex, and let's do justify content of center. So here you can't see the actual part yet because we don't have the JavaScript added, but basically once we you can see this part though, it's still here, but once we update this, it's gonna disappear and pop up again. So here I'll say pricing toggle, and then dot save percentage. Let's do font size of 1.2 rem, font weight, bold, and color. Let's do hashtag 0CE48D. So let's see how. Okay, now we have it updated in the green. And then let's do the switch now. So this is like the toggle. Let's do position relative. And then underneath here, let's make the display. I want this to be inline block. And the width, let's do 60 pixels. And the height, we can do 30 pixels like this. And now let's go to the actual input now. So we'll say dot switch inputs. Let's do opacity of 0, width 0, height 0. Save it here. And then we're making the slider now. So here's where we're gonna start seeing some actual visuals. So we'll say position. I want this to be absolute. Let's do cursor pointer. Let's make the top 0, left 0, right 0, and then the bottom to be 0. And then the background color, let's do hashtag CCC. Transition, let's make this one 0.4S. And border radius, we'll do 30 pixels. So now we have this slider option here. And then I want to make the slider, we'll do the before option now. So we'll say position, absolute. The content is gonna be just quotes, so it's like empty. And then we'll do a height 22 pixels, a width of 22 pixels, left of 4 pixels, and then a bottom of 4 pixels here. The background color will be, we just say white here. Transition, we'll just copy this, keep this here. Yeah. And then the border radius to be 50%. So now we can see we got a little circle toggle action going on. And then now we can do, let's say inputs :checked plus dot slider. We'll make the background color, and we'll just use the, let's see here. We can technically, let's see, OCE 48D, this one. And then we can do inputs :focus plus dot slider. We'll have box shadow 0, 0, 1 pixel, and then hashtag the 48, yeah, like this. Okay, so now technically nothing's happening yet, but now we'll do inputs :checked plus dot slider before, and we'll say transform translates x 30 pixels. And now let's see if anything's working here, and yet it's not working. So we do need to add in some JavaScript. So let's actually go ahead and do that right now. So we'll just navigate to the app.js, and let's just go down here. Let's say function to toggle the monthly yearly plan. And let's go ahead and start. And let's, again, we named this, the original one was switch pricing. So if you remember here, this on click, this is what we called this one. So we're going to use the same name, and then we'll do the curly braces, and then inside of this function, let's go ahead and let's const, we'll create this checkbox, and I want to have document. Let's do dot get element, but this time we're going to do ID, and we're going to be targeting the pricing toggle checkbox. So now if we go back here, this is the input ID here, you can see. The next thing is we're going to say const, I'll name this monthly prices, and we'll set this equal to document dot, this time we'll do query selector all, and what we're going to do is target the monthly dash price. So this is essentially monthly prices. Let's see, where did I have this one? Yeah, right here. So what this is doing is on the 10 for the basic plan, for the $30 plan, it's basically it's targeting all of them. So you have to manually update each one. It just does it all. And then we can do const yearly prices, and we can say document again dot query selector all, and this time we will target the yearly dash price. And then the last thing will be const, we'll do yearly discount, so I'll name it like this, and I'll say document dot query selector and dot save dash percentage, and we'll save this there. Now underneath here, we're gonna write our if else statement. So if you're still in your JavaScript, essentially if this occurs, something else will happen. So basically, like, if this is true, this works. If not, do this. So we're gonna target the checkbox, which is right there. Now you can see it gets highlighted, and we're gonna check if it's checked. And if it is, that means we want this to show the yearly. So let's go and say monthly prices dots, and we're going to go for each. And it's going to be a parenthesis. And inside of here, we put an arrow function. We're going to say price. So here's the arrow function part. And we're going to say price dot class list. I want to add this class of hidden. And then we can do the shift option down arrow to copy this, and we can update this one to say yearly prices keep the price list everything, except this time we're going to change this to remove. And then at the bottom we'll say yearly discounts dot style dot display. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, leave that dot style dot okay, yeah, display equals to inline. And then else, so if it's not, we'll say, let's just copy this again. Let's copy both of these actually copy all three. We'll say monthly prices for each price, checklist, class list. We're gonna remove, and then this one we're going to add. And then this one would change the display to none. So if everything is working, let me refresh real quick. You can see here. So let's see if all right, first of all, it's not shifting. Hold on. Let's inspect. Let's make sure there's no errors. Let's go to let's refresh again just to make sure that I save it. Yeah, okay. So right now it looks like when I'm clicking this, it is not activating. So that type function, switch pricing. So let's do this first. Let me console.log. Let's see. I'll just comment this out. And if I refresh and I click, I don't see anything. So that means there is a typo. Let's see. Let me go to the inputs. Oh yeah, why did I have this like this? It should be like that. On click. So now you can see the switch pricing showing. And then if I continue, still isn't an issue. Label. Okay, yeah, let me delete this for real quick. So now, yes. Okay, look at this. Okay, so that means if I uncomment this out now, so it's working here. So you can see yearly save 20%. But the only thing is now the I don't know if I've added the CSS yet for the, yeah, I don't think we have added the CSS. So next up, let us continue by finishing up the CSS for this particular section. So at least we can see now that the toggle button is working. So now what I want to do is let's go ahead and start working on the cards. So like these. So let's go here. Let's do services. I can do background, and let's just make these black for right now. Okay, and then the padding, let's make this 100 pixels by 0. All right, now it's looking quite crazy right now. That's fine. Let's do services. Let's make this the H2, and I want the color to be white, and the font size 4 rem. I think we'll be fine. And then under here we'll have the services container. Let's make this display flex. Justify content center. Let's do a gap. I want to do 1.5 rem. And flex wrap. Let's make it wrap. Let's see so far. So you can't see the text, but I can kind of see the idea from here. And then underneath this, let's do the actual services card now. So this should be able to make us see services underscore card. Make the background color. Let's do white. So now we can see, okay, now we got some visuals going. As let's do padding. Let's do 2 rem. I'll do border radius. Let's make this one 12 pixels. Let's make a box shadow. I want to do 0 pixels, 10, 20, and RGBA of 0, 0, 0, 0.05. See, it looks like this. Wait, no, it should be 4. So add another 0 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. Let's make a width of, let's do 280 pixels. Let's make display of flex. I want the flex direction to be a column. Justify content, space between. And transition, let's do transform 0.3s ease. And then we can have a box shadow 0.3s ease. And look at what we have. This is what we got going on right now. So if you wanted to add like a effect, you can, but for now let's just keep this here. So do .card content flex grow, we'll make it this one. And like example, we'll do services hover, and let's say like background color red. Now you can see. Well, let me exit out of yeah, let me get out of inspect. So this is what it looked like right now. So I guess let's delete this part, see how this looks. All right, here we go. That's much better. Okay, so let's get rid of the extra code. And if you just want like an effect like this, just put 03es. But we're not gonna actually utilize a transition for that. Just wanted to show you in case you wanted that nice little effect. And then let's go ahead and do the dot services underscore card h3. Let's do font size. I want 1.8 rem. Let's do margin bottom. Let's do 0.5 rem. And then here we're gonna do the services underscore card p tag. And then this time we can say margin dash, if I can spell this. This one will be 1 rem. And then we'll have the color hashtag 6. Let's do 686. Let's see how this looks. All right, it looks like this. Let's try like a darker black. Maybe let's try this. Yeah, this is fine. Oh, you can update it. It's literally just a font color, so whatever you want to put, feel free. And then let's do the services underscore card ul. Here, let's go ahead and I'll make this list style to be none, padding to be 0, text align. Let's do left and margin dash bottom 1 rem. Okay, so everything's lined left. Okay, nice, nice. Continue, and let's do the LIs now. So we can say services card ul LIs. Let's say font size 1 rem, margin 0.5 rem 0. Okay, and then we'll say card dash price. This will be text align of center, margin dash bottom of 24. Yeah, we can do 24. So here, okay, nice. And then dot card dash price of the price. Let's do font size 1.5 rem. Margin 1 rem by 0, and the color, let's do hashtag 333. There we go, got the prices showing. And then let's do the services underscore card button, which we should have it, let's see, it should have as a class. Let me see, where is it at? So this one's technically, yeah, class of class should be price dash btn. So technically, let's just do that price dash btn, because I think I switched out. Yeah, I have that switched out. So let me just go back. Let me check something real quick. Let's do price dash btn first. And let's do display inline block. Let's do background color. Hashtag 0 CE48D. Border to be none. Color to be hashtag FF. Padding can make it 0.75 rem by 2.5 rem. We can do border dash radius. Let's make this 5 pixels. Cursor pointer. Font size. Let's do 1.5. Or no, let's do 1.1 rem. Text decoration. Let's do none. And then let's do width 100%. And let's do transition. Let's say background dash color 0.3 ease. So tell we don't even need. We'll just keep it at 0.3 actually. Then we'll say price dash btn colon hover. Let's say background dash color hashtag 0 BA 746. Let's see if this is working. Yeah, okay, it looks like it's nice, everything is good. And now let's just do the ID of say small DSC. Let's make the font size, I want this to be 1 rem. The color, let's do hashtag 999. Text dash align, let's do center. And padding, let's do 8 pixels by 0. Okay, looking good now. And then let's see. We have card, where am I at? Hold on, where is my, alright, yeah, see card content. Alright, here we go, yeah. Let me make sure I have, yeah, so there's card, UL, let me check, yup. Okay, yeah, okay. So, here, let's do dot card dash features. Let's make this text align left. Let's do dot card dash features ULLI. We'll say font size 1 rem. Color hashtag what is it, 7C77C. Let's see now, okay, and then let's do the save dash percent display to be none, and then the dots hidden to be display none. So refresh. So when we refresh, we can click the button and we see the save 20% and the price is changing and everything is aligned according to what I like. So now we need to do is just make this mobile responsive. So let's go ahead here. Let's do, we can say the pricing plans mobile CSS, and let's do add media. We'll just say max width of, let's do 968 pixels. Dot services underscore container. Let's do flex direction column, align items center, and then let's do dot services underscore card, and let's do width 100%. Let's do max width. Let's make it 400 pixels, and margin dash bottom. Let's do 2 rem. So let me just inspect this. We can see how it looks right now. Switch to iPhone 14. I mean, we're on iPhone 16, so by the time you're watching this, probably got like iPhone like 20 or something by then. Hopefully, we'll see. But right now, this is what it looks like. This works. And some of you might not like this design where it's like on the side and you want it to stack, so don't worry, I got you, I'll show you. But let me just see right now. So far it's like decent. The thing we can change is like the sizing of the font. So we can be, let's see, services H2, font size, let's do 3 rem. And then under here, let's do another. So I'll just copy this line because I'm gonna do a different dimension. Let's do, yeah, let's just do 480 and see how this looks. And I'll say dot services H2, padding 0, 24 pixels, and say dot pricing dash toggle, flex direction, let's do column, and align items center. And let's see, want to have the, okay, let's see here. Let me see how this is looking. All right, yeah. Okay, see, so now you can see the stack is different. So this is what I was saying about this. And then let's do pricing dash toggle, save percent container, margin dash top 0.5 rem, justify content. Hold on. Justify content here, center. Let's do dot services. Oh yeah, we'll keep like this. Actually, no. Let's make this font size 2 rem, and then yeah, we can put it up here. Actually, let's make the dot services underscore card. Let's do width of 90%. Let's see how this looks. Okay, so again, feel free to change the settings and stuff, but for the most part I think this looks okay. And we can see here changing the text updates, mobile looks good. So we are getting closer to the finish. We now just need to do, let me just double check one more time, refresh in case any fix. Yep. Now we just need to go down and do the footer. So let's go ahead and work on that now. So let's make the footer. So let's go ahead and navigate back over to the index HTML page. Let's go under this section here, and I will just press tab, command / make a comments, call this footer section. And now let's just say footer, press tab here, and I'll just do dot of footer underscore container, tab, and then we'll make a footer. So dot footer underscore links, and then under here I'm gonna make a dot footer underscore link dash wrapper, and in this wrapper I'm gonna have the item. So I'll say dot footer underscore link dash items. So essentially we can begin with the actual content. So I'll make an H2. I'll just call this about us. Underneath here I'll have an a tag, and we'll just say tab with the href. And essentially you can just come up with but for example, I'll do the first 2 and then you can pretty much get the gist of it. So let's just say, let me show you. So let's put here like how it, or let's say how it works. So let's pretend like the footer, the word is how it works. You could make a URL that says how-it-works.html, and you can make a file named that way. And then if you were to do shift option down, let's pretend this says, or not pretend, let's actually write it, say testimonials. Then you can make this link testimonials. So you see what I mean? You basically copy the word and use .html for the link. If it has spaces, you need to put dashes in between because the spaces wouldn't work. So you pretty much just go ahead and rinse and repeat. So we'll say shift option down. Let's do 3 times, and I'll just update these. I'll keep the link the same just for simplicity's sake. but pretty much we can change these words to careers. Let's do investments, and we can say, for example, terms of service. And again, these are just a bunch of random links. You could have less or you could have more, just up to you. So essentially this div of the footer link items is each little section that we have on the site. So big websites usually have a lot of footer menus. So let's just go ahead, and I selected the footer link item section. So what I'm going to do is I'll paste it. I'll leave a space so you can clearly see what's happening. And then you pretty much just update this. So you can change this to be, and then here you can say like contact. This one, let's just do support. So again, if you weren't clear, you just change it to the name and make it lowercase too. So contact, you change that to support. And again, this is all assuming you have these pages. You can say file a link claim, and let's just make this one 4. So say sponsorships. So I can delete this 4th one. I don't need it. Save it. Copy this footer link items again, because we're gonna have, I think, 3 or 4. We'll see first. Okay, so next one, paste it in. Let's name this one. Let's just call this one finances. And then here, let's do portfolio. And then we can do news. Let's make this one locations. And let's do credit cards. So we'll save it again. So again, one more time showing you, you'd say portfolio, and then you have a file that's called portfolio.html. So underneath here, we can do it again. Let's go here, and let's just paste. And this time we'll call this one social media. So this one's a little bit different than the previous option. So pretty much here, we're going to have to add in the social media. Actually, technically it would be the same, except you'd pick your social media. So let's just say like Instagram, for example. And then this would actually link to, for example, here we'd say href would be https://www.instagram.com/username. So for here, I'm just gonna leave the default one. And you do the same for the next one. So we'll have, for example, Facebook here. And then we'll have, so before I continue this, there's a big difference. So the first thing is we need to set the target equals to _blank. And then also we need to say rel equals to, say, no opener, no refer. So the reason we do this is so that it opens it up separately instead of being inside of the website. And essentially it would basically replace your website if you didn't add these attributes here. So next we can just paste this in, and we can change this one to, make sure I fix that. Yeah, let's say Facebook, and you would just say facebook.com. And let me paste the 2 we have. YouTube, Twitter. So I'll do 2 more here real quick. I'll just say YouTube and then Twitter. And then also we can add another one for LinkedIn. So go here and be like LinkedIn. So let me save this one. And now we're gonna go here. We're gonna have one div. So this is the currently for the footer link items. This next div is for the footer link wrapper. So we still have the footer links here. So then underneath this third div, I'll make another section. So I'll just call this section dot social __ media. And then here we can do another class, div social __ media -wrap. And then we'll say dot footer underscore logo, make that lowercase. And then under the logo, we're gonna make an A tag. We'll leave it link blank, but we'll say ID footer dash logo. So let's put a slash here. And basically we can just add in the name of the site. So Bankster here. Underneath this logo, we're gonna do a P. And we're gonna make this dot website underscore rights. And then inside of here, you do a copyright symbol. So for Mac, you would do Option and press G to make the copyright symbol. For Windows, I believe you just hold down the Alt key and type 0169. But if not, go ahead and just find it on a line and just copy the logo yourself if you can't get this. And then you can just type in the name of our sites. And this time we're gonna put span hashtag year. So it has an ID of year because we're gonna add some JavaScript to where pretty much it'll update. And then we'll just say all rights reserved. And this is because I don't know if you've seen websites where, let's go under real quick, it'll say copyright 2015, but it's year 2024. It's because they have it hard coded and it's not manually updating, or it's not automatically updating based off of the actual real date and time. So the next thing is, let's do another div social underscore icons. Make sure we spell this correctly. And basically this time we're gonna say a dot, we'll say social underscore icon dash link. href, I'll give you the first example, so it'll be hps://www.facebook.com. Let me type inside of this first. Well, actually, let me finish the attribute. So again, we're gonna do target equals, I'm gonna say underscore blank. I'm gonna say rel equals no opener, no refer, and we can add an aria label as well, and we can set it equal to Facebook. But make sure we have this added inside of the quotes. So let me just copy this here. So now inside of this is where we'll add in the actual icon. Let's go back to font awesome and let's search up Facebook. And here we have this free option here. They got different ones, but let's just copy this one for now. There's also the square option too if you want. And pretty much just go ahead inside of this A tag. So make sure you're above the closing, you paste this in, save this real quick. And then let's actually check the site so far, see how it's going. And we can see we got our logo, we got all of these. And pretty much we just have to rinse and repeat this for all the other ones. So like if I copy this one here, and I'll do Instagram. So basically you would change this link. It would say Instagram here. So I just changed this to Instagram. And then you just go back to font awesome again. And you type, make sure I go, you type in Instagram. There we go. And then copy this here and paste this again. So pretty much you can do this as many as you want to. There's 3 more icons, so it's YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and just copy this in myself and do it really quickly, but you get the point, so you can go ahead and do this pretty quick if you wanted to. So I'll just do that right away, so I don't have to waste time you guys watching this, and then we continue with the rest of it. So I went ahead and finished up the rest of this section. So we got LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and pretty much the links are updated for some or most of them. So pretty much you can do that. And now let's go ahead and go to the CSS. So let's go underneath here. Let's do this, say footer CSS, and let's get started. So let's do dot footer underscore container. We can make the background color. Let's do hashtag 131313. Make sure I get it right here. Let's do padding. Let's do 5 rem 0. Display. Let's do flex. Let's make the flex direction column. We can do line items. Let's do center here. And now let's target the footer ID. So let's say hashtag footer dash logo. And let's say color hashtag 0CE48D. Display, let's do flex. Display flex, let's do align items. Let's make it center. Text decoration none. Font size, let's do 2 rem and margin bottom 1 rem. Okay, let's see how this looks right now. And let me refresh this real quick. So okay, so far this is what we have so far. And now we gotta continue. Let's go ahead and do the footer links. So I'm gonna say dot footer underscore links. Let's do width 100%. Max width. Let's make this 1000 pixels. Display flex. Justify content center. And then let's do the footer underscore link dash wrapper. Let's make this display flex here. And then let's do dot footer underscore link dash items. I want this one to say display flex here. Flex direction. Let's make this column. Margin, let's do 16 pixels. Text align left and width 160 pixels. Just double check. Okay, so now we're starting to get a better layout. So now we're just gonna update the let's do the footer underscore link dash items h2. I want the margin bottom to be 2, or no, let's just do 1 rem. And the color, let's do hashtag 0C48D. Then underneath the H2, we can do the footer underscore links. Not link, my bad. Link dash items. A tag this time, and let's make the color white. Let's do text decoration to be none. And the margin dash bottom to be 0.5 rem. Okay, we got some much better looking footer now. And then I'm gonna target let's just copy this real quick, paste it. By the A tag, let's say hover, and basically change the, let's change the color to hashtag 0CE48D, and the transition we can do 0.3s ease out. And then I'll do dot social underscore media. Let's do max dash width 1000 pixels, and width let's do 100%. And then we'll do social underscore media dash wrap, and I'll say display flex. All right, so looking like this. Okay, and now let's do inside of the wrap, let's make justify content space between line items. Let's make this centered. Let's do width 90%, and let's do margin of 40 pixels, auto 0 auto. And then let's do website underscore rights. Let's make this one color hashtag FFF. And then the dot social underscore icons. Let's do display flex. Let's do justify content space between, and width of 240 pixels. Okay, almost there. And let's go dot social underscore icon dash link. Color, this will be the 0C48D, and the font size we can do 24 pixels. Okay, so now let's make this mobile responsive. So media screen, and we can say max width, and let's do I have this set to 820, but we can change this to bigger, longer, or wider. And then we can say dot footer underscore links, and let's actually go into mobile so you can see what we got going. Yeah, so here let's do, so that's what it looks like now. I want this to say padding dash top. Let's do 2 rem dot footer underscore link dash wrapper flex direction column. Let's do dot social underscore media dash wrap to be also flex direction column. So now you can see we got this little thing like here, but I want to put it like side by side. So we can say like ID now footer dash logo comma dot website underscore rights. We can say margin dash bottom 1 rem. And then now let's do at media screen and max width. Let's do 480 pixels. Dot social underscore media text align. Text align center. And then dot footer underscore link dash items. We can do width of 100%. And then padding, let's do 10 pixels here. And let's see how this is looking now. Okay, so far it looks like this. And we do have that line, so we need to get rid of this on the icons first. So these are FA brands. So if you remember, we had the important option. We can also, let's just add, we can add a comma here and just say dot FA. I could just copy in what I just had. So that should get rid of that. And that looks like my, I must have mistyped something, because this one right here, the wrapper, it should have been, let me see. This should be side by side, footer link dash wrapper. Let me see, hold on. So I figured out the issue. It looks like there's only one wrapper showing. There should be 2. So basically you can see this, where's the ending? It's wrapping around here. But the thing is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, social media. So I'm gonna take this right here, and I'm gonna skip 1, 2, and this should be the second section where it should begin. As it looks like we have this, we're just missing the footer wrapper. So this right here, that means we're gonna need a div. So 1, and we need a div around this one. So now we have a closing div. So now there's 2. There's 1 footer wrapper here, and now there's the original one. So if I go ahead and let me refresh, why is it showing it not? Oh, maybe because this one's wrapping the whole thing. Oh yeah. So let me see this. Where's the end on this one? 1, 2. Oh yeah. So there should be a closing div here. So this one here, and then this one's here, which means this one, there's a div here, this div's here, div here, div here, div here. Oh yeah, but it looks like, what happened to the, I'm still seeing this like this. So let me see real quick, hold on, what is going on here? So it should be wrapping here, here. Let's see this footer links. Looks like there's an extra div, I think. All right, there we go. Yep. All right, so this is now what it looks like. So in the inspect, it should be like two like this. Okay, so now basically you can see here these two are side by side now. So again, just to double confirm, so basically this footer links item's wrapped, this one's wrapped with its own div, and then the footer link wrapper is wrapped around these two. And then you just rinse and repeat. This one's wrapped by itself, and then this one's wrapped by itself, and then it's wrapped entirely with this one. So this is the second rectangle, and then the last div should be the footer links, which wraps from here to here. So you see that? So that's why when you inspect it, we click, you can see now the two, they're side by side now. Okay, perfect. So the last thing we need to do is basically add in the code, the year, but we have to do that with JavaScript. So let's go back here. Let's go to our app.js. And now I'm just gonna go here and let's go ahead and basically go and type our JavaScript code. So I'm gonna say window dots, let's do add event listener. This is gonna load, and then we're gonna need, I'll just put an arrow function here. And basically we're gonna say const, and I'll just call this one year. Let's say year element equals to documents dot, let's say get elements by ID, and we'll just name this year. And the next one we'll say const current year equal to, let's say new date, capitalize, parentheses, and this is going to get full year. So get lowercase, capital F, and then year, capital Y, and that parentheses here. And then we're gonna do a year elements dot text context, or content, my bad, equal to the current year, which is the value we have here. Save it, and if it doesn't, make sure you have the semicolons. So now if we scroll down, 2024. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is how to add additional pages. So basically whatever link, so for example here we have the services tab, so you need to just make an, let's say services.html page, and let's just go ahead, let's see, let me just use this section for the search. So I'm just going to copy this in here, and also I'm going to copy in, you don't have to follow along, you can just look back and watch real quick. I'm going to copy in this header tag just so I can navigate back, and then also everything in the body, and then I'm just going to add a closing body tag for now. And let's just say body here. Yeah. So now, make sure I refresh. When I click on the services page now, this should update the URL, which you can see here, and it just showcases whatever code you have there. So you basically, the next step, you would just do like pricing.html, whatever code you want here, and basically that is how you update the pages. So now you just need to make sure you copy the navbar back in the footer too. So now when I go home, you can see we have the home here. So let's just go ahead and let's double check everything here on the website. This looks like it's working. Updates, changes back, and we got the footer here. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the links update here, and let's inspect it. Let's start off with well, here on mobile, might as well just see. Let's see here, go here, click on services, brings us to the services page. Nice. Okay, let's go back. Let me click on here real quick. Oh yeah, so maybe I don't have the I didn't add yeah, that's one thing. You need to make sure you have the scripts into the other pages. So basically just add it here, because if you don't, then the JavaScript part won't work. So now we try it again real quick. Good thing I caught that before we continue. Okay, yep, looks now working now. And then we can see mobile looks good to me. We can update here, 20% changing, nice, and the footer is there. Let's try let's do like iPad Air. Let's see how the Air looks. Standard here. Nav menu shows up, and we can do, let's do like the Galaxy Fold. So far, everything looks fine to me. And this is how you create this website utilizing the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if there are any issues or concerns, please comment down below and I'll let you know how to fix it. But aside from that, you're welcome to pretty much customize this and tweak around the CSS and obviously update it the way you want to. And the CSS naming, everything, all again is your preference. But aside from that, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more.